Welcome to Getting Paid on a State Contract, the California Prompt Payment Act. This video is brought to you by the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Services at the Department of General Services. The Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Services is known as OSDS. OSDS is here to help small and disabled veteran businesses succeed through certification, outreach, education, advocacy, and compliance. This informational video will cover the Prompt Payment Act, getting paid on a state contract, how to invoice, checking payment status, and late payment penalties. And by the end, you will understand how to submit invoices correctly, check payment status, and know your rights under the Prompt Payment Act to avoid unnecessary delays. So what is the Prompt Payment Act? According to Government Code 927, the California Prompt Payment Act law requires state departments to pay properly submitted, undisputed invoices within 45 calendar days of receipt. The Act applies to all businesses, including certified small businesses and disabled veteran business enterprises. Different payment terms may apply if stated in the contract or purchase order. Now let us mention what is not covered by the Prompt Payment Act. The Prompt Payment Act does not apply to purchase orders and contracts executed by the California government's legislature, California government's judicial branch, University of California system, such as state universities, state transactions with public entities, and non-state contracts with the city or county, special district, or the federal government. These entities have their own streamlined payment rules. The Prompt Payment Act also does not apply to subcontractors. Subcontractors are paid by the prime contractor, not a state department. The Prompt Payment Act does not establish a time frame for prime contractors to pay its subcontractors. It requires state agencies to encourage prime contractors to pay their subcontractors promptly, especially those that are certified small businesses and DVBEs. We have a one-time payment example for you now. ABC Office Supplies provides toner cartridges to a state agency under a contract. ABC submits an invoice on March 1st. The state agency receives the invoice on March 1st. Since the agency has 45 days to process the payment, ABC should expect the payment by April 15th unless a dispute arises. So how do you get paid on a state contract? It is simple. Let's go over key steps. Submit one invoice per contract or purchase order. Follow Bill 2 instructions in procurement documents. Do not send multiple invoices for the same service or product. This causes delays. And use the correct email or invoice portal provided in the contract or purchase order. More key steps are to ensure the invoice details match the contract and standard Form 204 payee data record. Also verify there are no disputes regarding service delivery, quantity, or compliance. Here's a tip. Invoices sent to the wrong person or incomplete invoices will delay payment. So what is a standard 204 payee data record? If you want to be paid on a state contract, this form must be submitted. So what is required to be filled out on this form? In section 1, enter the legal name of your business. It is the same name entered on your tax returns. It's associated to the business's tax identification number, and it should match the name on your certification profile. Next, enter your DBA, your doing business as name. Following is the mailing address where business mail is received. In Section 2, check the box for your business entity type. Section 3, enter the business's tax identification number. Section 4, enter the business's residency status. Section 5, certify under penalty of perjury everything is correct with a signature. You will complete a standard 204 for each transaction with state departments. Keep the information consistent. Remember, when your information changes, update the form. Here's an example showing a delay in payment. LMN IT Solutions delivered and installed software for a department, but forgot to include their new Bill to address on the standard 204 form. The invoice was disputed, causing a delay in payment. Now, as a result, the 45-day clock does not start until the dispute is resolved and the invoice is accepted. So let's provide some common issues that delay payment. Forgetting to submit an invoice. Departments cannot process payments without an invoice. Sending invoices too soon, before services are performed or goods are delivered. Submitting an invoice prior to shipping out the goods will cause delay of payment. An incorrect or missing information causes a delay. For example, if fees or purchase order number or supplier details are missing. Other common issues that delay payment can be that the supplier profile is not active or updated. Ensure Standard 204 form is updated with the remittance address, the name change, change of ownership, or business entity type. Or an invoice was sent to the wrong department or individual. Follow bill to instructions on the contract or purchase order. And here's a tip. State employees cannot create or edit invoices on your behalf. Here's another example that causes a delay. XYZ Cleaning Services provides janitorial work under a contract with a state department. Instead of sending the invoice to the correct payment email listed in the contract, they send it to the program manager's email. As a result, the payment is delayed because it was not properly submitted. Let's now cover how to submit an invoice. The invoice should be sent after the delivery of the goods or services are performed. Here is a list of the items to include in an invoice. Invoice number and date, and be sure to transmit the invoice on the same day. The supplier number and certification ID if applicable. The supplier contact and remittance address. A purchase order or a contract number. The bill to address, and the order contact person. More items to include in an invoice are the itemized list of goods or services provided matching contract descriptions, the quantity, unit of measure, and unit price, subtotal, sales tax, and total amount due, and any shipping and payment terms. And here is an example of an invoice for goods. The highlighted areas are the areas previously mentioned. For service contracts also include the service date and location, the scope of work completed, hours worked and rate per hour, the project name and service order number. And here's a tip. Ensure that all procurement documents, such as purchase orders, contracts, certifications, and invoices, match your business name and tax ID number on the standard 204 form. And here is an example of an invoice for services. Here is an example of purchase order payment details, and we offer a helpful hint. Always use the information on the purchase order to prepare the invoice. Purchase order payment details will include a purchase order number, payment terms, buyer name and phone number, a ship to address, a bill to address, the line item and description, quantity, the purchase order price, a due date, an item total, and finally the purchase order total. Invoice details and instructions are always outlined in your contract. You can find information such as when to submit an invoice, what to include in an invoice, the options for submitting invoices, what happens when an invoice is disputed, budget contingency clause, prompt payment clause, and contractor overpayments. Let's cover examples of items that are not considered as invoices. State departments are unable to accept the following documents as invoices: email conversations and notes, written conversations and renderings, drawings and technical specification sales orders, statements of account, and third-party invoices or work orders. This example is about a payment delay. 123 Consulting provided training services for a state agency, but failed to include their project name and service order number on the invoice. The payment was delayed until the correct invoice was submitted. Now we would like to talk about when to check payment status. Invoice processing workflow. The invoice is received by the state payment office, and this is considered day 0. Days 1 through 15, the department reviews the invoice for accuracy and disputes any issues. Days 16 through 30, approved invoices are sent to the State Controller's Office, known as the SCO. Days 31 to 45, the SCO audits the invoice and either disputes the invoice or issues a payment warrant, also known as a check. And then payment is sent. The check is mailed to the supplier. And caution, if a dispute occurs, the payment clock stops until all is resolved. We mentioned a dispute. If a dispute occurs, the payment clock stops. Dispute Notification Form 209 is issued until it is resolved. To resolve the dispute and restart the payment clock, your business must return a copy of the dispute notification with the corrected invoice. The 45 days includes 30 days for the department to review and approve, and another 15 days for the State Controller Office to get the check to you. You will want to check status. So check 30 days after submitting your invoice. Here is what to do. Verify your remit to address in your invoice matches your standard 204 form. And use the Fiscal Purchase Order Payment History tool or the Fiscal View Progress Payments on Public Works Projects tool. And for Caltrans payments, visit their Vendor Payment History portal. If your payment has been issued but not received in 3+ weeks, here's who to contact. the buyer on your contract or purchase order, the department's payment office for a warrant status, or the SBDVB advocate for the department if you are a DGS certified small business or disabled veteran business enterprise. The Fiscal Purchase Order Payment History Tool. The Fiscal Purchase Order Payment History Search was created to provide the payment history of Fiscal-generated purchase orders, known as POs. Once the PO has been sent to the supplier or the small business or the DVBE, it will display on this search unless it has been canceled. The search results are divided between 4 pages. These pages are Overview, Invoice Details, Subcontractor Details, and All Details. The Overview is the main page for entering search information and filtering the initial results. The transaction information is just a high-level summary of information extracted from the Fiscal PO. The Invoice page displays payment information associated to the purchase order. The Subcontractor page displays PO subcontractor certification information. This data is captured at the time the transaction is created and may not match the business's current certification status. The All Details page is a comprehensive page that displays both the invoice and subcontractor information. You can find this search tool on the CalEProcure webpage under Find Public Procurement Information. The Fiscal View Progress Payments on Public Works Projects search site is available to you. This is another tool you can use for public works projects that are created by departments in Fiscal. This search is simple. Enter the search information, the supplier name, contracting department, the PO number, or a payment date range. Please note, if a payment is late beyond 45 days, state departments must automatically calculate and pay late penalties. So who can get late payment penalties? Certified businesses in addition to other businesses. Penalty rates are this. Certified small businesses and nonprofits receive a higher penalty rate. Other businesses, including non-certified businesses, receive a lower penalty rate. There is a minimum penalty payment. If there is a $10 or less payment for small businesses, no penalty will be paid. If the payment is $100 or less for all other businesses, no penalty is paid. If a payment is overdue by more than 4 months, you may file a claim with the DGS Office of Risk and Insurance Management. The California Department of Finance issues budget letters that announce the late payment penalty rates. For certified small businesses, the penalty rate during fiscal year July 1, 2025 through June 31, 2026 was 0.0004795 per day. This rate is then calculated to include the number of days late. For example, an invoice for $10,000 that was 90 days late in fiscal year 2025-2026 equals a penalty of $431.55. Here's a final recap for getting paid on a state contract. Here are some good reminders. Submit a complete, accurate invoice after work is performed or goods are delivered. Follow the invoice submission instructions in your contract or purchase order. Use correct payment contact information, such as email, portal, or mail. Check payment status using online tools and department contacts. And know your rights. Departments must pay undisputed invoices within 45 days. Late payments qualify for penalties. No extra invoice is needed. Do you need additional help? For invoice processing and payment status inquiries, contact your contracting department's payment office. And if you'd like support with the Prompt Payment Act, contact advocate@dgs.ca.gov, business outreach at dgs.ca.gov, certification@dgs.ca.gov, or phone 916-375-4940. Thank you for watching Getting Paid on a State Contract.